it's me! And welcome back to another thing of Stoner Rants. I apologize for today's video. It's probably gonna be really rough. Friggin' my battery dies before, I just started filming and my battery's to be fair, it was dying last video, I just forgot. Anyway. Today's video is going to be a little bit rough because it's day 5 of Vlogmas and I'm already exhausted because, as I've discussed in the first video, I think, I'm not very good at sticking to a routine or a schedule. But today's just going to be more of a vlog, kind of fly by the seat of my pants kind of video. So let's just jump right into it before I get more distracted or randomly have another panic attack out of the blue. What? How do I start this? Okay, so I've been going back and forth on whether or not I want to talk about this kind of stuff with you guys. I know there's a lot of it on YouTube already, but I didn't have an idea for today, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about my paranormal experiences. Ooh. And it's not something I talk about a lot just because I don't. There's a lot of people that don't believe in that stuff, and that's fine. If you don't believe in it, that's your prerogative, you know. And it's not so much that I don't want people coming back and not believing me, because I could give two shits whether or not you believe me. I just don't want to sound preachy and being all like, oh, there's ghosts out there and unexplained shit. Especially if you don't believe in that kind of stuff. You don't want to be hearing about it. Unless you're just watching this for entertainment and taking it with a grain of salt, then whatever. So, my paranormal experiences have been happening to me, God, since I can remember, pretty much. I have gifts and abilities. Again, I don't like to talk about because I don't want to fucking, force feed it down your throat if that's not your thing. So, I talk about it with the people that are closest to me and stuff. And I still haven't quite, figured out what I'm able to do and stuff. I'm definitely clairvoyant and I'm definitely clairaudient. I'm just gonna, okay, and I want to do a little disclaimer here. The experiences that I've had aren't oh my god, terrifying. It's just oh, well that was kind of weird. Or, oh, well that's neat. It's not oh, terrifying, freaking Amityville horror shit. It's not. As long as I can remember. I remember always, and this has happened as recently as a couple years ago. But I remember always waking up to seeing people looking over me, standing right next to my bed and looking over me when I'm asleep. And I've never felt any threat by that. There were some that were scarier than others. But it wasn't oh my god, fuck, I'm losing my mind. I know a lot of people experience sleep paralysis and they'll see that kind of thing, but the things that they see is just beyond terrifying. I was just waking up to random people looking over me, and sometimes I knew they were my guides and angels and stuff like that, but other times they were just people that were attracted to my light, and unfortunately I didn't know how to help them at the time. So yeah. So I've had stuff like that happen. I've waken up to seeing this figure in my doorway of my bedroom. But she was like a guardian or a guide for me. So, like, that wasn't scary. That was just like oh, hey, you're there. Thanks for letting me know you're looking out for me. I remember this one time. It was in the 90s, and I know that because I was listening to Spice Girls. I was in the living room, and we just got this new sound system. And I was in the living room, and I had Spice Girls cranked, and I was, doing my girl band, lip sync along thing. And then out of nowhere, and I know, yeah, it's a new sound system, it's the 90s, it could be buggy, but this had nothing to do with the sound system, and everything to do with someone trying to get my attention. So I'm listening to Spice Girls, I'm grooving, I'm having a great time. By the way, I'm home alone. I'm having a great time, having my own personal dance party. It's great. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the volume goes full blast. Like, just full blast. And scared the shit out of me only because it was a sudden volume change. And I went over to investigate. And everything seemed normal on the little display box thingy. I can't remember what that's called. Whatever. Everything seemed normal, but it just freaked me out so much that I just my personal solo dance party ended. That's all we have for the night. That's good. Okay, we're gonna turn this music off now. Thank you. Oh, the basement of my mom's house. There is something down there. And when I move into my mom's house, that time, my battery ran out. Or no, my memory ran out of space. Why can filming never just go smoothly for me? There's always something. Oh yeah, and then this one time I was in the tub and I was facing the faucet. So the faucet's right in front of me. And of course, in the faucet, you can see your reflection, right? No word of a lie. I'm staring at my reflection in the faucet, and this silver orb thing. That's the only way I can describe it. Like, if you've ever seen like the way this is gonna sound really bad, okay? But Terminator 2, the guy that liquefies and stuff like that. So the way that his metal looks when it's liquefied, but in a sphere form, and it pops up one shoulder as if it's looking, looking above my shoulder, looking out from behind my shoulder. That's the word I'm looking for. So this orb just pops up behind my shoulder, like I said, as if it's looking at something in front of me. So it pops up this way, and then it goes back down, and then it pops up the other shoulder, and then it goes back down. And then that's when I was like, what the hell? And I turn around, of course nothing's there. So I turn around, and I look back into the faucet, and I turn around again, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? To this day, I have no idea what it was. Whatever it was not threatening, because I was not afraid of it. Maybe it was a hallucination. I don't know. Can you have a hallucination at 10? Well, I mean, guess if you were given the right drugs. Don't give drugs to kids. Don't do that. I was not on drugs. Yeah, so I have absolutely no idea what the hell that was. It was really weird though. Oh, I was talking about, I remember. I went off on this whole tangent about, okay, so long story short, when my mom's husband is out of the house, whatever that means, you know, if he passes away or if he decides to move into a smaller place or a retirement home or whatever. As soon as he moves out of the house, I get the house, and whatever in the basement is getting kicked out. It's getting kicked out. I have a few medium friends, a few psychic friends, and we're all just gonna go and tell it that it has to fucking either cross over or leave. You're not allowed in my house anymore. I would have nightmares about whatever was in the basement. Like, I never saw it. It was just this feeling of dread. And when I would dream about the basement, I knew that something was down there. I just never saw it. And I knew that it wasn't a good idea to go into the basement. I did all the time. I had a swing in my basement. It was one of those ones that are just like a circular wooden disc with a rope through the center of it. We put it in the basement. I don't know why. But yeah, so I used to hang out in the basement a lot as a kid, but I could only be down there for like maybe an hour at a time before I started getting really creeped out and I had to leave the room. So my mom was an RN and emerge, and she had to work nights. So I would be left alone at home when I was old enough. I'm sure I had babysitters up until then, but I specifically remember the times that I was home alone overnight. So at this point, my bedroom, there's the lower floor, but not the basement. My bedroom, there was at one point my mom had to, because she was a single working mom, not making enough, so she had to divide the downstairs into 2 rooms and rent it out to boarders for some extra income. So we did that, and then when we were in a place that she didn't need the income of the boarders, or maybe she just got sick of these boarders living in our house, I'm not sure. But so I moved downstairs into the bigger of the 2 bedrooms, which coincidentally, if you opened the door to my bedroom and looked across, like a hallway maybe that wide, can I get it in? Maybe about that wide. When you open my bedroom door, directly across my bedroom door was the door to the basement. So that's fun. But yeah, so I was downstairs in my bedroom, and well, of course I was, because that's where I slept every night. So whenever she would go to work, and it's important, I know I've said this like 3 times, but I'm drawing more attention to it. It's important that my bedroom was close to the basement, but not for the reasons you might think. Okay, so I'd be home alone overnights a lot of the time, and I'd be either sleeping or doing homework in my room, or doing homework. Let's face it, I didn't do my homework. You know, reading in my room probably then. I mean, I didn't have a computer or internet at that point. You know, kids, there was a time where not everybody had a computer or internet. And I lived through that time. I would hear somebody walking on the roof. Or at least it sounded like it was coming from the roof. It may have been the attic, but that didn't make sense to me. It sounded like somebody walking on the roof. And it's happened more than once. And every time I'd call my mom at work saying there's someone on the roof, and she'd have to leave work and come home and investigate, and no one was ever there. her coworkers and like family members would try to tell me, oh, maybe it's just raccoons, or maybe it's just crows, or whatever. I don't know why crows specifically, I'm not sure. And we had a walnut tree as well in the backyard that does grow over the roof, but this was not like, because I grew up with this walnut tree, I'm very familiar with the way that walnuts sound when they hit the roof, when they're falling off the tree. This was not that. But yeah, and I would be like, no, it's like, crows don't walk that heavily. Raccoons don't walk that heavily. These were like human feet in work boots, footsteps. I don't know why on the roof. I don't know what the hell he was doing up there. But it was on the roof. But I will say, never once did my mother ever tell me that what I was seeing, experiencing, hearing, never once did she say that it was just my imagination, or it wasn't there, or it wasn't real. Up until my teens, up until she met her husband, I would say, it was a regular occurrence for me to sleep in her bed because of the shit that I experienced. And being like a young preteen and younger, but I'm talking specifically about that time in my life. I didn't know what I was experiencing. I didn't know why these things were happening to me. I still don't. I'm understanding it better though. That's it for this video, I guess. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Check out my Patreon. Link is in the description below. And we'll see you guys next time. It's so much earlier than I thought it was. That's good. Ow! Ow! Literally just like punched myself in the face with my fucking water bottle. Fuck, that hurt. Okay, we're gonna...